and welcome to Don't Feed the Geeks, presented by the Long Island Comic Guys, the masters of the geeky verse. I am TC, joined today by JJ.
What up?
And Bojo.
Red 5 standing by.
Yep, we're missing 2 tonight. No Toy Story, no Dungeon Master, but I'm sure we'll see them again. So I'm going to turn it over to Bojo today for some current news.
So we're going to do... Oh, hello.
Whoa. What? That was soda, right? That was pop?
I don't know what that was.
All right. So this is the Geek Beat. So Kevin Feige was... Kevin Feige? Feige's his name?
Is that how you say that?
I don't know.
Because it's bothering me. I was worried that you were going to make me do the news.
I think it's like Feige.
Because I was worried that I would have to pronounce that. I was going to jack it all up.
I don't know.
In my head, it's always been Kevin Feige, but I know it's wrong. I think it's pronounced Feige.
I think Toy Story knows how to say it.
I know.
Well,
Toy Story wish you were here.
Yeah, this Kevin dude.
No,
What a jerk.
I like you, kind of.
Well, Kevin Feige was promoted to Chief Creative Officer for Marvel Studios. He's going to be overseeing all creative and story initiatives. This new title is in addition to his already being president of, Marvel or Marvel Studios. All creative, key creative executives are to report to him, and I'm pretty sure this is the title that Joe Quesada had.
So is this the president of everything under Marvel, or is it just...
So I'm actually kind of wondering if this is they're making a move to kind of push Ike Perlmutter out, or try and consolidate power with Kevin Feige and I think minimize Ike Perlmutter's role.
I don't know who that is.
So Ike Perlmutter...
Just to clarify before you go into that, though, I think that still is
Joe's role,
but on the Marvel Comics. So this is specifically for Marvel Studios.
It's only Marvel Studios?
I believe so.
Okay, because I think I saw some conflicting stuff online that this is Marvel overall.
That's what I was confused about.
Me too.
I mean, I think when you still read a comic book and you look, it says Chief Creative Officer John.
They're not going to change that stuff in print for at least a few weeks.
Okay.
The way I figured that, because they made such a big deal of this, that he was in charge of Marvel.
Right.
Marvel, everything.
Right.
And then I think what I saw was Studios, but I don't know.
Anyway, Ike Perlmutter is a guy who wound up with a majority stake in Marvel and therefore a majority stake in Disney because of how much he had invested in Toy Biz. And I don't remember what the business deal was in the either late 90s or early 2000s.
You mean the company Toy Biz?
Yes.
I love their toys. I'm actually trying to find all those DC ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, is Toy Biz even still in business? I don't think it is.
No, I'm talking about the older toys, the ones from the early 90s.
Oh,
eBay.
yeah.
Go on eBay.
Yeah, I like to find them in the wild.
Everything's on eBay.
It's better that way.
In the wild is great, which is going to be our topic later on, so we'll get back to that. All right. Point number 2. They actually announced 2 characters cast for the Batman this week. Zoe Kravitz was cast as Catwoman in the Batman. Fun fact, she was Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie. And if you have not seen the Lego Batman movie, you really need to.
I'm not going to lie, I was let down a little bit. But
really?
I didn't dislike it. I was expecting as much fun as I had in the Lego movie itself, and I didn't.
So it's a different movie.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a celebration of...
that.
Yeah, everything Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say I didn't enjoy it, but...
She didn't have that many words. Didn't she just say meow meow every so often?
I'm pretty sure that's what she said.
That was it.
So maybe she has an expanded role this time
I
out.
hope so.
By then,
I'll be honest, if she just says meow meow in it, I think it'd be great.
I don't know if it
But
fits
a
the
lot
tone,
more.
buddy.
So wait,
What
is this
else-
called
what else-
The Batman?
It's called, I believe, The Batman.
What else has she been in?
Oh, she was in X-Men First Class.
Oh, that's right.
She was Angel.
Right.
She was born inside of...
What?
I think this is... Are you trying to get to the fact that she is Jason Momoa's stepdaughter, and therefore she is...
No, I was trying to think of her mother's name. And
No, I
it left me
know.
At the moment.
Cosby Show?
Yes.
B. Man.
We're not going to look this up. We're
I'm
going
not-
to make you suffer along with us.
Oh, my God. Don't look this up.
No,
don't
do
look this up, JJ.
Oh, God.
We're going to do this.
She was in Enemy of the State.
Yeah, it's...
This is awful.
Before that, so she was... So the spin-off to the Cosby Show...
Her
was
last
a
name starts with a
Different
B.
Strokes.
Yeah,
Bonet.
I know.
Bonet. Lisa
Bonet.
Bonet.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah, you didn't see it, but I was throwing my fist. I hit something. It's great. We figured it out. But yes, she is her daughter.
And
And I didn't realize it wasn't Raven. I thought her daughter was Raven this whole time.
Huh.
No, I didn't.
does she have any relation to Lenny Kravitz by any chance?
That is her father.
That is her
Son
father.
of a gun. That's so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's a lie. And the other person who was cast was Paul Dano is going to be the Riddler.
I'm excited for that. This
he's
guy
a-
is weird looking,
Yeah.
and every movie he's been weird. I'm actually excited about this.
I think that's actually really good casting. He was in
He even looks like him.
what's the Sunshine?
Little Miss Sunshine is one of my
He was
favorites,
great
man.
in that. I've seen that a lot. I do
He was
really like that.
he was
movie.
really good in
Yeah.
There Will Be Blood as well. That's a weird movie.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I didn't. I always meant to see There Will Be Blood, and then like too much time passed, and I was just like,
If you have a milkshake, and I have a straw that reaches all the way to your milkshake, I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
What?
That's not him at all. That's the what's his name? Oh shoot.
the actor who.
Yeah,
does
Daniel
it.
Day Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, weird movie. Kind of cool movie too.
But I'm excited for him.
Oh, he's
He.
a good cast.
I think
he's a good.
I think he's gonna fit that part.
He's a good casting choice. I think that they were. Who was the other name that was being floated around for that? Was it Jonah Hill?
Yes,
Well, no, Jonah Hill's been announced for the movie. They haven't said who he is.
I don't.
but they
think he's been
it was a toss
announced.
between the Riddler and the Penguin. Was the toss
I
between
don't
him?
think so. So the story is they're supposed to be following the long Halloween storyline,
Right.
right? So
Really?
I think if that's
Yes.
the story,
Yep.
we're gonna see everybody. I don't think it's just gonna be one character.
That's why the book is taken off, because the book
Oh,
is
no.
started taking off again.
Yeah, because
It's huge. Now I'm seeing it everywhere, and it's gone up in price.
Ah, this is like the
And we just did a live stream of it like last month, so it was very ironic how this just came to be.
legitimately one of the only '90s miniseries I don't own. I own Dark Victory. I own most of the '90s Batman miniseries,
it's
but I
just
don't
number
own
one
Long Island
because
Halloween.
I think number one is the first appearance of Albert Falcone.
Oh, really?
I think that's why that one's trending up.
Son of a gun, man. Dang it.
Yeah,
Well,
a little exciting there.
all right. On to point number 3 for the night. Our boy Rob Liefeld.
Don't say his
Why,
name.
Joe? You're not
sorry.
His
Sorry.
name is banned from this show.
Oh, come on. You can't treat him like Voldemort. It gives him power. So apparently he's done with Marvel for the foreseeable future. He did like the Major X series. He's been doing some variant covers here
All
and
right, we're
there.
gonna go on
Don't
later
care.
when you tell the story about how you threw holy water on him and steam came off.
So apparently in a tweet he said his last item for them is going to be a variant cover for Deadpool. He's not doing any covers or interiors, and he's working on creator-owned stuff. And G.I. Joe Snake Eyes, is that right?
Yep. It's actually
Is
pretty.
he doing a cover? Or is
He's
he
doing a
interiors?
cover. I only saw the cover, and I actually like the cover that he's doing.
Every once in a while,
To
he
be
turns
honest
out
with
some cool looking stuff.
That's the only thing he's got going for him.
Like I know he had some. Did anybody see his like Superman covers?
Don't care.
Okay, cool.
I did.
And now he's what? What is he doing now? He's turning around and suing Marvel for some stupid crap.
Is he really?
That was the latest too. So
I don't know.
who cares? We don't care about him.
I
Hey,
find him. He's
after
a
our-
fascinating character.
After our last episode, that guy Luke inspired me to be a little bit more positive, but
Oh.
I feel that this guy just has bad stuff follow him around. After a while, you have to ask the question: is like, might be him. I mean, I don't think I've heard people have positive stories about him.
You know,
Everyone's-
it's funny because I actually one of our friends made me stand online. Tom Travers. At
First-
New
first
York,
guest.
yeah, at New York Comic Con to get his autograph and buy the variant cover. I think it was called Brigade. And there was a lot of people that liked him online who was paying the $100 to get a picture with him.
Oh yeah.
And this one guy came up with a stack of comic books, and
Must have paid him $15,000.
must have. And it was one of the. It wasn't Deadpool. It was the other one. He's
Cable.
It was the Cable book, and he charges a lot of money to sign
Yeah,
that.
I think he charges like over $100 to sign that.
And the guy got pictures with them, and it.
So
So there are people that like him.
Leifeld's an interesting character. He gets kind of a bad rap where, like, listen, some of it is earned. I'm gonna defend the guy, but just a little bit. He was a young kid, like, who was just really excited about comics and got into comics at exactly the right time, and his energy and his style, like, struck a chord with people. And I don't think he necessarily draws stupendously well, but there's definitely an energy there. And I know Kirkman in the past has I think before they had some kind of bad blood between them for Image United, referred to him as like the modern Jack Kirby. A guy's full of energy. His characters don't exactly like anatomically make sense. But there's a definite energy. There's a definite dynamism to his characters and the way he draws. He's he got in at a good time. He hit it huge at a good time. His books were selling millions of copies, and he was making like a ton of money every issue for all those early Image books. So like the guy was part. I don't know if he was part. You know what? That's speculation. But like you give a young guy money, and I mean like a lot of money when you're selling like almost 1 million copies. Like that's a lot of money per issue.
This guy's gotten the longest airtime on this show. Are we done?
Yeah, you know what? We'll do it another day because you know what? I think Travers and our buddy Jeff want to come on and do a whole episode with this guy.
On what show?
Yeah.
I guess it's an episode you guys are sitting out.
I guess we're sitting out on that one.
It'd be
Well,
interesting to talk about it.
I think this podcast is sitting out. On that.
Listen, I think the guy's got fans and he's got fans for a reason.
Okay.
And we'll end with that.
I don't have anything positive to say, so let's move on.
I think we're going to have some positive stuff to say about James Gunn.
Yes.
Apparently, in a recent interview, James Gunn said that...
What a great
That was
segue.
fantastic.
I love
Thank
that.
you.
We screwed it up by breaking into it.
I don't care.
But that was good.
I'm acknowledging
No,
that.
it's
that
always good.
greatness.
It's all good. This is what I do. So apparently in a
It's
recent
not
interview...
What he does, though.
Apparently, it's not what I do. Recent interview, Warner Brothers offered him whatever I wanted. I'm doing air quotes here. After being fired from Disney. And like he's gotten total free reign to make whatever he wanted to do, cast whoever he wanted for the new Suicide Squad movie. And I don't know if you guys have seen the new poster. And I know I went on a rant last week about the Birds of Prey poster, but I cannot tell you how excited I am for this new Suicide Squad movie.
Really?
I'm honestly really excited. James Gunn's involved.
So am I. Unfortunately, I've been seeing some stills from behiver the scenes.
Oh, I don't
And
look
it
at
looks,
that stuff.
I know it, but sometimes it just shows up on my Facebook page, and it drives me nuts because I saw Nathan Fillion, whatever his name is. I like him, Castle dude.
I do too.
Does he look like himself, or is he in like some type of?
He's in some weird costume.
I heard a really funny rumor about who he's playing.
I'm not exactly sure. It's like one of those.
Arms fall off man or something
Yes,
like that.
yes. And I thought about Jeff when I saw this. I'm like, Jeff is gonna love this character. Arms fall off man.
I don't think he lasts very long if I had to take a stab. But you know what? Suicide Squad is supposed to have
That's what she
characters. Suicide Squad's supposed to be like a
Children.
a kind of movie or a story where like anyone really could go at any point. Like that was one of the good things about the early Ostrander Yale issues. You had all these like C-list characters, and like people don't realize that Deadshot was a C-list character at the time. Captain Boomerang was a C-list character at the time.
I feel like
Like
they're still
any
kinda
of those
C-list.
guys could have gone at any time. Anytime. And like the new Suicide Squad stuff is like Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Deadshot.
No one who's gonna bite it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It loses some of that like, oh man, who's gonna die? Like I feel like they only did that with like one character.
Yep.
They did the
first
movie. Who
movie.
was that? It was some weird.
It was Slipknot.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's Slipknot. It was the guy who played Napoleon Dynamite's friend.
Yes.
Is that right?
I think
Is
so.
it really?
Yes.
I did not know.
Was it the
that.
guy who played Napoleon
I
Dynamite's
don't
friend?
think it was.
No, it wasn't. It was
No.
somebody else. No, it was David Spade movie.
Oh boy.
Where he's like playing an idiot. Joe Dirt's friend, I think. I'm pretty sure it was the guy from Joe Dirt.
Okay.
Oh, the Indian guy.
Yes.
I think he looked like
the fireworks dude.
he looked like he was a Native American. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's that actor.
Oh, can I say?
You can say that.
Did you say Indian?
I said Native
Wow.
American. I said
Native American, I believe, would be
That's okay.
proper nomenclature.
Ah, cool. I don't
Um,
want to be canceled.
oh my god. Yeah, people have to listen to us first to be canceled. Anyway.
This might be the way to do it.
Oh my. All I'm saying is I'm excited for Suicide Squad.
So I think this is kind of like the perfect fit because, James Gunn had so much success with, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is really before these movies came out, throwaway. Like anyone in it was just like, I mean, I had the luck, and I don't know if it was a recommendation from you or at the time where I got into it, but I read that like early, I think it was did Bendis take it on early when it was like,
Was it Annihilation era or was it?
I think it was maybe right after Annihilation. So Adam Warlock was part of the team. It was basically the team now, except I think they had Adam Warlock on in addition, and then some girl with bands, I think too.
Oh, that was still probably Abnett and Lanning.
Yeah, I really enjoy. I mean, I like those characters so much, and when I got really excited when the movie came out, I was like, oh, these are like all the characters I like. It was like Adam Warlock wasn't in it, but like everyone else was.
So that was
Just so you know, it's Adam Beach is his name. Adam
Oh,
Beach.
yeah.
And he is a Canadian Indian. He's not even U.S. He's Canadian.
was I correct? Was he in Joe Dirt?
Yes, Joe Dirt.
All right.
Was he also in that movie like the Wind Talkers?
Wind Talkers.
Yes.
Yep, Wind Talkers.
Yep.
And
I've seen him in a few things.
Yeah.
Law and Order.
Tragically underused.
Yeah, because he was good. I liked him in Joe Dirt.
He's like not just.
He's in one of your favorite movies, Cowboys and Aliens.
I do like that movie.
Oh yeah, he is.
That is a good movie. Honestly, that's not a bad movie.
I actually liked it.
Let's not exaggerate.
Let's not say. I didn't say it was
a
a good movie. I said it's not a bad movie.
It was all right.
Okay, I'll actually give you that.
Yeah,
Mystery Alaska. Love that movie.
Oh,
Another
Mystery
good
Alaska
movie.
is awesome.
Mystery Alaska is a great movie.
Great movie.
Come at me.
I can watch that
Somebody wanna
over and over
challenge me
again.
on that?
I can watch that over and over
Best
again.
Russell Crowe movie. Forget.
Yo, no.
I'm just
Come
kidding.
on.
There's nothing better than Gladiator. We were having a conversation the other day. You're crazy. Matt, I think Matt was asking me, is there any movie that you would give a 10 to? And I thought about it. I was like, Gladiator. I would give Gladiator a 10. A 10 out of 10. Like, I was watching it the other day. I was like, this movie's fantastic.
Oh, I was thinking of the wrong Russell.
I said Russell Crowe, right?
Yeah,
you said Russell Crowe.
Who were you thinking of?
Snake Plissken.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Sorry,
I do love Kurt Russell.
who doesn't love Kurt Russell?
I've seen Overboard way too many times for a guy.
Was he in?
I've also seen-
Was he
I've
Captain
probably
Ron?
seen it just as much as you have.
I've also seen Dirty Dancing way too many times.
I haven't seen that many times.
I used to watch that with my
We
mom.
got off topic.
Hi, Mom. She doesn't listen. It's okay.
All right, moving on.
All right,
what
we're
are we talking?
moving on.
What are we talking about?
Speaking of Deadpool, from before, I guess, Deadpool writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick confirmed that Disney has given them permission to retain an R rating for future
Awesome.
Deadpool movies. And I know that Ryan Reynolds was at Marvel Studios this week. We just saw some pictures of him there. I don't know how
he's
they're going to
playing
make that
Wolverine.
work.
So what? Disney doesn't do.
My eyes are wide because that's a great idea.
So what? Disney doesn't do R-rated movies?
Not usually. They're Disney. They're like all ages.
Well,
I think if they didn't have such a successful thing that was happening, I think you would have a straight-on riot if you tried to replace Ryan Reynolds at this point. And you can't do that. And you also can't change the tone of the movie with that, I think.
And I also don't think you can necessarily keep the rest of the X-Men universe. But like you can have a character like Deadpool almost like wink at the audience
Oh, I mean,
about the fact that now he's in the Marvel
yeah, I
universe.
feel like he has no problem, moving. Like you can't like bring that current X-Men universe onto like this universe and make it work. But you
What
can
a
totally
nightmare.
you can totally just take Deadpool and be like, because he breaks the fourth wall all the time anyway, so he can openly even say it's like, hey, it must be great being supported by the mouse now, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I can see him like wearing like mouse ears in the very first movie that comes out, without a doubt.
Oh, first scene.
Like I'm sure, yeah, 100%. The first scene is going to address all of that
or
openly in the movie.
or opening credits.
Yeah,
It has to.
yeah. I'm excited for it. I don't even know when it's coming out. I can't
All
wait
right.
to see it.
I'm there with you.
I will put money on this. We are going to see Deadpool as Mickey Mouse throughout the ages in the beginning of his credits. We're going to see Steamboat Deadpool,
Okay, I can see that.
right?
Yeah.
If I'm
I don't think
correct,
it's gonna happen,
come back
but
to
that
this.
would be great.
Remind me 2 years. All right. Two more things about comics. Two more things about things this week.
You can't talk about comics on a comic book podcast.
Why not?
I don't know.
X-Men #1 dropped this week. And anyone who's been following Hickman's new run for House of X Powers of 10 knows that he's doing some weird and different stuff.
I'm only 25 years behind. Just go with it.
And for people who don't know, Hickman's actually got a background in graphic design. So like his first book was The Nightly News. It was published by Image, and it was very design heavy. And he loves putting diagrams. He loves doing things where like he puts in graphics into his books. You'll have like whole pages that are spreads, and they're not, panels with images drawn and whatever. Like he really packs his books with stuff. And the interesting thing from this week's issue, spoilers, is they put in a diagram for this moon base where the Summers family lives. And that's like everybody. Cyclops and Rachel Summers, who's his daughter from an alternate reality future.
That's really why I've gone back to 1994 to try and understand what the heck goes on with the X-Men.
It is a soap opera mess.
I was just like, I don't understand any of this.
Cable is there, but Cable is no longer Cable, the old guy. It's like Cable, the teenage version who came back and killed his older version. I know it's ridiculous sounding.
Back.
I know, of course. It's X-Men.
What color's his hair?
Brown, but I believe he's got a white streak like Rogue.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Vulcan's even there. Like the third Summers brother.
I don't know who that is.
You'll get to him in the early thousands.
The people from Star Trek.
I love them. They're my favorite.
It's a different guy.
They're my favorite.
Oh, different guy?
It's a different guy.
Spock, greatest character in the Star Trek universe.
Anyway,
Come at me.
Coming to you on X-Men in the next...
the weird thing about this issue is they have Wolverine's quarters, Cyclops' quarters, and Jean Grey's quarters. And they're connected like it's a hotel room. And they're the only three that are connected. And if you went back a few issues into... Yeah. If you went back a few issues for, I think, one of the Powers of X issues, or the House of X issues, Powers of 10, House of X, sorry. Like, Mr. Sinister had, like, this weird, like, little gossip column thing going on, because there's so many different versions of Mr. Sinister, because he's cloned multiple times. And there's this whole thing where it's like, he's the best there is at what he does. She's married with a kid. The husband knows exactly what's going on, but who is he to point the finger? He's up to much the same, and more. Maybe this is just the new normal on the mutant island. Because like not Cyclops, Nightcrawler in the last issue of House of X, Powers of 10, I don't remember which one, was like, we need to multiply. So like, we need more mutants. We need to get it on.
Totally different. I thought he was talking about Cyclops going through the other door.
Oh no. Wait, which door? Oh my. Oh my. He's the best he is at what he does. Snick.
No, that would be... No, I was talking about Cyclops because you said he's doing much the same, but more.
Oh yeah, apparently.
That's why.
Maybe he's making his way around. I don't know.
He's doing two.
Maybe.
Okay.
All right. So
Anyway.
main segments. No, no, we skipped Superman.
Do we want to talk about Superman?
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Okay. He's super.
Man.
Lastly, they've been starting to publish some of the DC solicits this weekend. And one of the things they've been doing and they've been hinting at for a little while is that Superman is going to reveal his identity again. And it seems like...
I think they've been like hinting at this for a little while now,
since
right?
since Bendis started on the title, I think.
But how many times have we done this?
I don't know. Have they done this before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Truth. New 52, 2015.
I don't remember that.
It was Jeff Johns had done a run
know
on the
what?
title, and I think Gene
I
Luen
do remember
Yang.
that. It was just the series, the New 52 in general was just so bad at the time that I probably erased that from my memory. I'll be honest with you, as our kind of resident Superman guy, I don't like it. Like the great thing about Superman is the duality of, his personality, and I feel like you lose something if you just get Superman. Like you lose like the humanity of like who he is, and like obviously he's not a human, but humanity means more than a species. I feel like, and I don't like it when he's just focusing on one thing. I mean, me and you, I know we're in agreement on this. One of my favorite issues ever that I've read was recently from Rebirth. Who was it? It was Tom. Was it Tom? The issue where they're the whole family like goes on the road trip.
I love that.
Oh.
That was great.
Who wrote
Oh, that was Pete Tomasi.
It was and it's all Clark. It's really. I mean, it's the super family, but
Who did the art on that?
I don't remember who. It was someone really good because I think Pat Gleason.
Was it? I know Pat Gleason did most of the art that series. I don't know if he did those issues. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it was like, I mean, I just like the balance to the character, and without that, like I feel like you get almost like the Hulk with a brain.
So I've been reading Action Comics, and I stopped reading Superman. I'm still keeping up with Action because for some reason I like the story better in there. The Superman title seems like it focuses on him and Lois and John, and I I'm disappointed that they immediately aged up John.
Yeah, I think the last issue I read for that was when he comes back, like maybe an issue after that, and I was just, I heard
I know. I just cracked open a soda.
that.
There we
yeah,
go.
I was really disappointed by that too, and I was hoping that they were gonna retcon it quickly, but it doesn't seem like they're going to.
It's not happening because he's going to be in Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm way behind on DC stuff just because, again, I've said I'd like to read it digitally, and
It takes a while for it to come out digitally. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still gonna continue to read Superman. I have a feeling I'm not gonna enjoy it as much as I do when he's Clark Kent.
Personal taste, if you like the Clark Kent stuff, the Action Comic stuff is really good because it focuses on him. It focuses on him at the planet.
Yeah, I've read so it's funny. I actually like the other stuff because I like you just see so much of like and at the same side of the coin, it's just like it's just him at the planet and like no one knows who he is. I like that there are people who know who he is, so he can be himself, but as like Clark Kent, like not just being with like Batman and Wonder Woman, like
Right.
you get to see like the Superman at home with the family, but they know he's Superman kind of deal.
Yeah.
And that the Action Comic thing, it's still like kind of like business as usual a little bit.
Yeah, I also think that like Perry White knows. He's got to know.
He's a terrible editor if he doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like he has to know.
I mean, at this point,
I would think should be a few people that should know.
Jimmy Olsen should probably know too. But like Jimmy's a kid. Like, yeah, it's
but you
forgivable
think
if he
at the
doesn't
same
know.
point though, like as big of a newsman that Perry White is, he'd be pretty much breaking like journalistic integrity, letting people write about themselves, wouldn't he?
Yeah, so you're probably right. He probably doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like Perry White's in the same shoes as Jim Gordon, in my opinion. Like Jim Gordon has to know that Bruce Wayne's Batman.
I don't think he does. And it's not that he couldn't figure it out. I think it's more that he doesn't want to know.
There's a great issue during No Man's Land where Bruce takes off the cowl
And he turns around. Yeah.
and he turns around and doesn't
Yeah.
want to see him.
He's like,
he doesn't
"I
want
don't
to see his
wanna know who
face.
you
I don't
are."
want to know who you are.
Yeah.
He sucks
So
as a
good.
detective.
Yeah.
Then, if you think about it,
No, he knows. He knows. He just doesn't want confirmation. He wants what do they call that?
Keeps
Deniability.
plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability.
I don't
Oh,
think he
are you
does
gonna
that.
open that soda?
what
JJ?
Soda? It's soda.
Oh,
That's a soda.
ginger ale, my favorite.
It's
I
All
think
right.
this brings us to TC.
Mhm.
What does this bring us to?
comic shops.
That was scary.
JJ
Who
jumped in
said
on that.
I've never even heard that guy speak before.
JJ jumped in on that hard.
Comic shops.
So tonight's segments, tonight's big main.
Tonight's segments are brought to you by the Long Island Comic Guys.
The masters of the geekyverse.
Thank you for being with us tonight. We're going to be talking about comic shops
Why did we suddenly turn into NPR?
because they get listeners. People just send them money. They just send them. We should just ask, like, hey, take out your credit cards right now and just send us some money.
Should we do a pledge drive?
We should. What do you bring? We talk about stuff, and we need money, so we can buy more stuff and talk about it.
Love it.
Tune in for future episodes.
Love it.
This soda's got a lot of
Fizz.
It's wow. It's interesting.
Does it have 76 different flavors?
No, it's all
7 different kinds of smoke. All right, I don't. This episode, I don't even know what's.
We're
going
off
on.
Whatever.
the rails
Who
tonight, and I love it.
cares?
So tonight's major segment is all about comic shops.
Comic shops.
Just talking about what it is we love about them, what it is we noticed first, that sort of stuff. So let's put it this way. When I was in high school, used to work at a comic shop.
Couple
Did
years.
you?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Fascinating.
Did you not know that?
I
feel like you're being sarcastic, you son of a
I
gun.
would never be sarcastic.
So when I was in high school, like from freshman
Before
year
you
on.
go into this,
Yes, sir.
We're so formal at it.
the
What
best
what
way
happened?
to be sarcastic, everyone, and I'm going to teach the young kids listening at home,
Because you're good at this.
is and it comes with years of practice. Is you need to convince yourself what you're saying is true before you can get other people to believe.
No, that's how you beat a lie detector test.
Also, but so before I would go home and tell my parents a story, I was like, all right, I need to make sure that this is the way I believe the story is, so that when I tell it, I am so passionate about it that there could be no other way. of
That's still not sarcasm. That's beating a lie detector.
This
No, but
episode has
that-
gone to
That's
hell.
what that's how I use sarcasm too. Because when you guys look at me, I can't tell if you're joking.
I can't. It drives me
because
nuts.
I don't even know anymore.
I hate it
I don't know what the truth is. That's
It
my point.
sucks.
I don't know what the truth
because
is.
I fall for
anymore.
every single one of your sarcasms.
I've got to be honest. The first time me and JJ went to New York Comic Con together, I think we were still pretty new in terms
Friends,
of friendships. And he's just like, I think 90% of the day, I was just like, I don't know. Are you serious or you're not? And like the whole time, it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, that was a joke. It's like, oh,
I was tired. I was tired of you.
that's fair. That's fair. My wife feels that
But
way.
now, wait, now we're going on 5 years? We're fine.
Probably, yeah. I mean, anyone who gets past the year mark with me, I think they've gone too far. Like there's no turning around now.
Just like this episode.
Yeah.
There's no going back.
What were we gonna talk? Comic shops. Let's do it.
So I think comic shops are fascinating.
Because you worked at one?
Honestly, no. Well, I mean, like I have interesting insights
I've
because
never
I
worked
worked
at
in
one, and I tend to agree with you.
They're like some of the few stores, like record stores and music stores and like comic shops are like some of the few stores that are like independently owned, right?
Where there's not a lot of the latter.
Yeah, man. There's not a lot of record stores.
No, that's not. Was that?
There's one in right
was that
next
the
town
first or the
over.
second one
I don't
was it?
remember.
All right, I by the latter I was referring
You meant
to record
comic
store.
Oh yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah.
But like they're mostly independently owned. You don't really have chains or franchises. The most you probably have is what? Newberry Comics and Midtown Comics, who have multiple locations.
A few stores. That
Midtown
have-
Comics only has locations in Manhattan.
3 of them.
Yeah. You know, Newberry Comics is where? New England into... I know there's a location nearby here on Long Island.
They're,
Yeah,
they're out of
one-
Boston.
There's one in the mall. Yeah.
They're out of Boston.
But, like, you really
Oh,
have...
what was the other one? Forbidden Planet. They're here in
Forbidden
England,
Planet
right?
has
I mean, there's
two locations.
There's a few. Well, there's London, right?
Yeah, London and then also Manhattan.
Okay.
But, like, you generally don't have large franchises or large corporate, you know,
I feel like even like
entities.
most of them are even family owned. Even if there's a couple stores like Royal Collectibles, they opened a second store in
Yeah.
Astoria. So I mean they have.
But
you know, a
that's new
sports store,
too, so
yeah.
it's different.
So, like, I think it's really cool because more times than not, these are, as we said, small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And more times than not, you deal with the owners
Yeah.
or people that those owners trust,
Yeah.
right? So, like, every different shop, it's not like going into a Best Buy where every Best Buy is pretty much the same, or
Which
going
are
into a
almost-
Home
were
Depot where
almost
every Home
obsolete
Depot is
themselves.
exactly the same. Right. Like, every comic shop is different.
And it's crazy too because, unlike a Best Buy where all that stuff is pretty much available online for purchase now. Unlike I feel like a Home Depot, like that stuff that I don't know if it's ever going to
Yeah.
reach the point where like you can order all that stuff online.
You can order it for pickup.
Yeah.
But, you know, I went and bought stuff at Home Depot this
It's
morning.
just easier.
You got to go and
You gotta
pick it
go.
out.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
You got to make sure you're getting the right stuff.
That's number
But when
one.
you
there.
think about it with comic books, you really, it's surprising that people still go, and I think it's because the physical books have a monetary value associated
Well,
with
I
them.
also think people like to go in the shop to see what they're buying first. Be like, okay, they'll may look at the first couple pictures, close up. I'm taking this home.
You can flip through a book at a comic shop.
Yeah.
And if you go on the right day, and depends, you know what? The right day depends on what your tastes are.
Right.
If you go on a Wednesday, you get to talk to other people who are going to get their Wednesday books.
And you see who the people are, what they're buying, and
Yep.
then that's how you base your decision on what
I
books
mean,
you're
you
buying.
totally
it's a
could.
community. I mean, you think about it. This, the reason this happened is because we became part of the comic book community. Like,
Wednesday
I
Warriors.
saw you holding a Midtown Comics bag. I started talking to you. You worked at the comic shop that we'll eventually get to.
Yeah.
In the next part. And then we would have a dinner of like 5 to 6 people,
Yeah.
which might. I mean, when we all get together, I think there might be a 15 strong or at least a
Easily.
12
Easily.
of us.
Yeah, 10 to 15.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's pretty
If you
impressive.
think about it, like Tom used to come out,
Yep.
and we used to get Jeff and Pete and his brother Chris, right? Hey guys.
Yeah.
We would get
And then
sometimes
Matt and Courtney
Chris would come
we
out.
get Chris.
Courtney would come out, and Courtney still does
John.
sometimes come out. John, right? Like we'd have a rotating cast of
And
characters.
Andy threw himself into there. Yeah, it was. I think even like when we became friends with Tom, like I met Tom Travers, with Tom Polari at at a cigar lounge.
Hey, Tom Pilari.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom Pilari, we miss you.
Yeah.
Shout out.
And, he saw that we were talking about comic books, and he jumped in. He's like, hey, I actually do some art. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, that's awesome. But it is something I think you go to, like, not only, I mean, I know there's that monetary value to the books and people, and there's plenty of people who just focus on that. But I think you're also looking to, like, kind of reach out to that other person who's interested in it. It's really like that kind of community, feel that you want to be part of it with other people. Like, I don't think there's a lot of people who enjoy comic books on their own. I mean, I'm sure there is, but I think more of the people, like, because it's hard, like, when you read a comic book, like, you kind of want to talk to somebody about what happened.
Oh,
it's just like,
100%.
I mean, we have a group chat of, like, however many people. And, like, there's days where it's quiet, and there's days that thing will just blow up about, like, whatever.
112 messages.
Yeah, you go to, you take a break for too long, you'll come back to, like, oh my gosh.
What did I miss?
But,
it's a ton of fun, and the community part is really important. I find that, you'd get a lot of people who are reading something, and maybe not a lot of people are reading it, but, like, you come to the shop, and you're like, hey, to the guy behind the counter, like, are you reading this? This book is awesome. You should check it out. And vice versa. I'd be like, hey, I see you're reading this. I see you're reading this. I see you're reading this. Have you tried this book by this person?
Yeah.
Or have you tried this book that's kind of similar to this book and this book kind of combined? I think it's a perfect match for you.
And I feel like it's one of the places also, like, added to that where you're more likely to get someone who's not working at the shop to actually tell you something about
Bingo.
that, which you don't get so much. Like, when you go to Home Depot, it's just like, oh, well, like, I actually buy this type of wood. You're asking the whole, like, there's no one coming up to you and be like, oh, like, I actually like this screwdriver.
Yeah.
Now
That guy is a jerk. You don't want his opinion. It's the guy at the gym who's like, you're lifting that wrong, brah. Like, you don't want
for
that
your
guy.
knees.
Like, you don't want that guy showing up. But at the comic shop, like, it's just such a great, I'm going to be honest, it's such a great spot. It's such a great place where people who are there want to be there.
Yeah.
I know that retail gets a bad rap, and I'm gonna jump into this just for a second.
Mm-hmm.
There were things about the job, and this is coming from a guy who used to work at a comic shop like 4 or 5 years ago. It was a good long time, and as I said before, I worked in a shop in high school, so I did this for a good long time. Like, people who show up to comic shops aren't like regular retail customers. They don't argue with you. More times than not, people coming to a comic shop want to be there and are looking for stuff to buy and looking for something to enjoy. And there's just so much better quality of customers.
Yeah, I feel like, I guess what you're trying to get to is there's a lot less people who are coming into that shop than other stores where they're not browsing. Like, they came in there for a reason, for a purpose.
And people who browse, that's fine too.
No, there are. I'm not saying that there's not, but I think, like, even if, like, you're coming in there, you're looking for something, and if you don't have it, that's a different story.
Yep.
You're not, you might not be taking money out of your pocket, but if you have that thing that they're looking for, they're usually coming in there looking for something.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there's a mission. Like, I'm coming into the store, like, I'm not just going in. It's not like you're walking around the mall and you see something like, oh, those are cool. I'm not buying them, but those are cool. Like, no, I'm walking into the shop because I'm on a mission for something.
Yep.
And, like, we've been to plenty of shops. So, like, hey, I'm looking for these 5 books. They don't happen to have them. But if they did, different story.
Which I think brings me to a cool point. Like, when you go to a comic shop, what are you looking for? Like, all of us have our like, weekly shop, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But, like, what do you guys look for when you first show up to a new shop?
A new shop? Well, JJ, I kind of like to see what they've got. New stuff. I'll check out the new stuff. It's more of like, I'll do a lap. I'll do a lap when I first walk in, up and down the aisles. Just like, I'm a super mart freak where I need to go down every single aisle. Same thing with the comic book. Like, I need to walk around, and then, it's more hitting the books, seeing what they got.
Okay.
I usually don't look at the back issues. I'm not a back issue guy.
Okay.
Now I am. In the past, I haven't been, because now I'm trying to finish some runs. But yeah,
Just seeing what's there.
Seeing what's there.
Yeah.
And there'll be times where I'll walk into a shop and not buy anything, especially if it's a new shop, just to check it out.
I don't think that's ever happened. No, that's not true.
It all depends upon what they got.
So I feel like the first thing I've seen, and I think I've tried to go to a lot. I think, I'll be honest with you, I might have been to the most different shops here. I don't know how many you've necessarily been to.
In my lifetime, a lot.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, in the last 5 years, I think
You had me beat in the last 5 years.
I've been to a lot. So, and the first thing that I've noticed, and I've gone to ones in different states, and it's kind of like whenever I go somewhere. And I mean, obviously, when we travel, we're going specifically for a reason, so it would be expected for us to check out a comic shop. But even when it gets to the point where I'm going on family trips, like the day where it's a little slow, it's like local comic book shop finder. And the thing that's really bothered me is there's a lot of places that I go to, and the store is just a wreck.
Yeah.
And it's just like I walk in there and I'm just like, nope, sorry. And so that's like kind of the first thing I noticed. I was like, listen, it's like I'm not asking for you to be like the neatest store and everything categorized, and alphabetized, and being like an OCD type store, which is the type of store that if I opened I would have.
Oh,
but that's
alphabetized has got to be like a must for me.
I mean, that's just my personality. But like I've walked into stores where there's books not even in boxes.
They're
just
like
piled
stacks.
Up. And I look around, I'm just like, hey, so where do you have your Spider-Man books? Like, if you lift those 4 boxes back there probably might be some under there. Okay, thanks. I'm gonna go. And it's just
True.
I mean, that's kind of the first thing I've noticed. And I'll be honest, there maybe 30 different shops I've been to in the last few years.
Yeah, you definitely beat me.
I've probably seen only like 3 or 4 that are really like that, and I think out of those 3 or 4, some of them probably aren't even open anymore, which makes sense because I'm sure I'm not alone with not wanting to shop in a place like that. I gotcha. But the cleanliness, which is surprising. Like I'll be honest. So I really got into this the first time I walked into a comic book shop that I can remember. I mean, I'm sure I randomly walked into ones as kids, was 2013. And I happened to walk in to your shop, Comics, and I walked in, and I know we're getting a little off topic, but it wasn't what I expected. You going in there, you're expecting like the comic geek, like the traditional comic geek, and I'm walking in there, I see like a guy who's a mailman. I see regular looking guys. I grew up like being like an athlete. I always enjoyed the stuff. Everyone enjoyed the movies and stuff like that.
For those of you who don't know TC, how tall are you?
6'5".
Yeah, there you go.
I used to be thin. I used to be athletic. I used to be 6'5" and athletic. Now I'm 6'5" and something else, but
somewhat slender.
No. But
this is radio, man. I gave you an out.
Off top. People have seen us out in the wild at this point. But yeah, I don't even know where we're going anymore. So it was.
You came to the shop in 2013.
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected when I walked into a comic book shop. Granted, there are, people who have fit that very what's the word I'm looking for? Stereotype. Comic book shop owner. And you know what? Listen, but
this is the worst comic book ever.
Yeah, and that's the thing I really do love about this. And I don't know if it's just been more recently, but the comic book fan is so diverse.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's like, and I don't know if it's always been that way. I mean, like I only have 5 years of evidence to like put behind this, but I have to imagine
it's pretty diverse, man.
And that's really what I love about it. So, I walked into this shop and, I didn't really know what I was looking for. Like, I knew I wanted to read more comics. And, I told you, like, I started reading them digitally. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I saw this thing pop up for, like, local comic book shop finder. I was like, let's see where the closest one is. And I'll be honest,
I wasn't
between
closest.
yours and there was another one. I don't think he's open anymore. He was the guy in...
Yep. He's not open anymore.
Yeah, but and he's one of the shops where I walked into and I was disgusted.
Because it was piles everywhere. But, I never went there, and it's not to knock the guy because he's a pretty nice guy.
And again, it was more focused on gaming too.
I think
card
so.
Gaming.
Yeah.
Funny story about that. I don't remember what the name of the shop or who he was. I picked up a stack of like maybe 15 or 20 books that I was interested in, and I put them on the counter. And by the time I got to the counter, he goes, "Oh, those are yours." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I thought someone just left them there. I put them back in a box. And I don't remember what box it was." I was like, "You serious?" He goes, "Yeah, sorry." I was like, "All right, well, I'm leaving. I'm not searching through all these boxes." I was like, "Okay."
That's so bad.
But it was it was an experience that I didn't expect by going to your guys' shop. And it's funny now that you almost feel like you're like in the beginning. It's like, oh, if I go to another comic shop, it feels like betrayal. But I was like, I feel
still feels that way for me.
I get my local books, and I think I mean, at least the way that I'm looking at it is like if you're getting your books weekly at my shop, that's great. You know, I appreciate that. But if you're looking for books, like we're collecting older runs, you know, Batman, Aquaman, Spider-Man, and at this point, and it's like, if I don't have it and someone else does, absolutely, you know, go for it. I was like, if you leave my shop and, you know, you start getting your weekly pulls from somewhere else, I'll feel a little bad about that. But I mean, you know, it's, you know, in terms of like, are you living close? Are you living far away? I was like, you know, I don't expect you to travel 15 miles to go to my shop, but you know, I would do what I could to make it work for you if you wanted to.
We've done that.
Yeah.
I did that in the past, like where we would actually make it work for people
but
who live further away.
It wasn't what I expected when I first walked in. But this long tangent I went on. Cleanliness is very important to me. In terms of specifics, so I get my weekly. I honestly don't even look at the new books because I look on previews weekly.
Mm-hmm.
I see what I want. I see the different covers.
Previewsroll.com.
Yes, previewsroll.com. And at my shop, Best Comics International on Jericho Turnpike.
As New Hyde Park. I used to know the address by heart.
Yeah, it's on Jericho Turnpike.
1300 Jericho Turnpike, New Hyde Park, New York. 11 something.
You did better than I. But you know,
11040.
I email my pull list every week, and I usually don't. I mean, they'll reply to me like, hey, you know, we can't get this, we can't get that, and I'm just like, all right, no problem. I was like, you know, whatever books you have, put them in my list, and whatever you don't get, JJ will get in the city of Midtown.
and that's the flip side of things. Like the small comic shop generally tries to approximate what they're going to need and what demand is going to have.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you don't wind up having everything, which is unfortunate.
fine,
I know that more times than not when I was working there, and I know that Nick, now that he's working there, and Tommy, obviously working there, like they try and get stuff in for customers. If it's a special request, they'll like order it up for you if you want.
And there's plenty of times where it's like, hey, you know, we've sold out of this, but I can get more in. I was like, yeah, it's
bingo.
But like,
and then you wait on it.
I don't need it right now. I was like, but at the same thing, like if you tell me, it's like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to get any more of them, I appreciate that. Like, I don't want you to tell me that you can and then you can't.
Exactly.
Like that's, you know, it's like if you know you can get it, that's fine. You know, I'll buy it from you. I was like, but if you're sure you can't get it,
let me know
just
too.
Let me know.
Right.
And I'll try to get it somewhere else. Or at this point, like, I'm really trying to curtail my new stuff because I buy way too many new. But I still buy a lot.
New books are meant to be enjoyed. New books are meant to be read. New books are meant to be enjoyed. That's personal opinion.
I know. I don't.
It's
Yeah, I don't follow that either.
you guys are wrong. It's okay. Though.
I know.
It's okay. They're
that's
all
what,
different. Then that's the cool thing is there are all different types of collectors out there.
Well, I do want. It's not that I don't want to read. So I'm at the point where I'm only buying. That's not completely true. I'm only buying 90% of what I read. So it's probably 90% what I read, 10%
cool
I
covers.
like the cover.
That's a dynamite cover, babe.
I feel like that book could be worth money. And probably, I would say 70-30, where it happens where it's not really worth money, but it could be. I mean, have I gotten some wins? Sure. I feel like more times than not, you don't get the win because it's hard to read that market. And, you know, it might also be something where it's not a win right away, but like 5 years later, it could.
You know,
We're not talking about comic shops in particular. Now we're going into comic books.
It's okay though.
Let's
They're
talk
all
about
related.
JJ's,
They're all
comic
related.
experience.
All right. I won't talk about Adam Hughes.
My local shop is Midtown Comics because I work like
So
a
it's the
block
big-
away from.
it's a big comic.
It's a big comic.
So you have the local comic shop that's kind of like a big local comic shop.
It's a big comic shop. And
Yeah.
I'm there every Wednesday morning before they're
I feel
opened up.
globally too. That's like pretty well known as like a global market.
It is because they get a lot of
comic book
they
shop.
they get a lot of
Yeah.
mail orders also from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And those are like weekly pulls, right?
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are- yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like going there because I can get everything. When I talking about everything, going to your local shop like Tesco's do, he may get, you know, if there's a book that has 10 covers,
I am TC, sir.
TC.
I'm just kidding. I don't care.
He's TCing you.
The shop that TC would go to, you know, you may be lucky to get 2 of those 10 books, maybe 3.
It's true. It's a small.
One of those books is definitely cover price, and I would imagine anything past the regular cover, it's going to be a ton more money.
So, I mean, if you're in the market for variant
Right.
covers, local comic shops, it's tough.
It's
100%.
tough. Where Midtown, they'll have all 10 and it's all cover price.
Right.
So that's what I like that. I like being able to just go in and Spain,
But not like there's also like the retailer exclusive, like
Right.
the 100s, 125s. Those are still a little bit more, but not as much as a local comic book shop would have to charge.
I would think that their Midtown is strange because some of the like 1 in 100 books, they're astronomical. Like they put a weird price tag that's a lot more expensive than I've seen them even on eBay. Like it's amazing. So some of these books I've seen, I'm like, why is this $500?
I think they're probably they're starting to get wise to like what's happening and realize they're missing out on like a lot of money where people are coming in and be like, hey, yeah, oh, you're selling that for 100, great, it's going for 500.
Yeah,
like give me all the ones you have.
I would be, as a former like retailer, a former on the retail side of things, I would be fascinated to see what like Midtown's weekly bills look like.
Oh God.
Just to like see either how much they're ordering, how much they're selling, if they have the ability to return stuff. Because I'll be honest, like I don't know. I don't understand how they're making money on new books with a weekly bill that like, at least at when I was working at the local shop, when I was working at Best Comics, like we had a clientele that I could at least judge. Like I know X many people come in, I know X many people read this title, I know that this solicitation reads like it might be an important issue, so I'm gonna bump it a little bit, right? And I can kind of gauge where I'm supposed to be. At a place like Midtown Comics, you got people buying books that are from out of town, right? How do you judge that on a weekly basis?
No idea.
I'd be fascinated to see what their ordering is like.
I mean, they had to have come up with, and you got to realize it's not just one location. They have 3 locations just in Manhattan.
And they have two warehouses?
Yeah, one's right here.
Yeah,
There's the one right here in New Hyde Park.
And then there's another one. I know that there's another one. I just don't know where it's at.
It's Long Island
Oh,
City.
yeah.
I don't know if they still have the Long Island
And
City
they've got that big
location.
warehouse because you and I went to that warehouse.
Yeah,
Remember
they
that?
do a lot of warehouse. So, I think their back issue stuff moves though.
Yeah.
So when I first got into it, so I came in right around New 52. I picked up, when I walked into Best, I tried to pick up all the stuff that I was missing. Then I went into, I had like maybe like 2 to 3, or depending on some issues, a lot more missing. I walked in there, flipping through back issues. I found like multiple of everyone I needed.
Yeah, because the back issues at where I go to, it's upstairs. It's not a lot.
And it's hit and miss. It's really hit and
It's a little
miss.
crazy because, I've gone in there many times looking for back, and there's not enough.
No, I'm talking. So it's. Do you mean like older back issues or new back issues?
New back issues too.
Really?
So they'll keep. So what they do is, the weekly stuff is up. The brand new weekly stuff is on the top shelf, and then they just keep cycling it down. So probably they've got a month's worth, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks on it, and then after that,
It gets cycled elsewhere.
I don't even know if it goes. I don't even know if it goes upstairs. I think they just bring it. It gets taken out somewhere else, and maybe
Taken
I don't
to
know.
the warehouse and sorted, and then
it
maybe
must be.
cycled back in.
It must be
It's possible.
I mean, and then you got to remember there's people worldwide ordering these too.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I like going there because of what I can get there, and I know that just being on the spec list of new books that are coming out, they're gonna at least have a few copies of what I need.
It's a little less stress.
It's a little.
right?
It depends upon the book, but yes, it's a lot less stress than that.
So when I go to a new comic shop, the stuff I love to see is like the stuff on the walls. Because it sounds weird, but like,
You mean like the big books?
yeah, you can tell a lot about a shop by what
100%.
books they
Yeah.
have deemed like wall worthy. Like, what do they think's important?
Absolutely.
What do their prices look like on those books, right? And like, how often does that change? Now, like, granted, if you're going to a new place, you don't know that, but like, if you can see what they have up on a wall and what they've like deemed worthy, and if they have like a really good selection of stuff, like that's a really cool shop to go to. And if you go to a shop and it's like, why is this book up on the wall? Like, that tells you something else about the shop, maybe.
It can go negative and positive. It's funny. There's so my wife's family, a lot of them are from Rhode Island, so I've been to a bunch of different shops in Rhode Island, and one I've been to, I think like probably 2 or 3 times now. The last time I went in there, I saw like a Civil War book up there, and it was it wasn't like a special issue, but it was a Thor cover, but it was a Michael Turner Thor cover.
Oh, it's a variant.
Yeah, and I looked up there, and I was just like, that's like a $10 book. It was like, he put it like up on like a wall somewhere. I was like, I'm gonna take it. But it's just like I like that he appreciated the way the cover, even though it wasn't like $100 book.
Well,
he's
yeah,
like,
it doesn't have to be 100.
This is more worthy of being up here. Like people need to see this instead of it just being in like.
But was it also during the time when Civil War came out, the movie? So
I think it was after that.
Okay.
Though. Yeah.
It's one of those things where like you can tell a lot about the shop based on what they like to think is important.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And I love to look through back issue bins. Like Best has a really great deal where like if you get 10 books or more from their back issue bins, a lot of times they're like $1 each. And like that's so cool. You can discover a whole run of stuff. You can get almost everything in a series for like $1 a piece. And then there are other stores where it's like, they mark their stuff up 50 cents higher than cover price, $1 more than cover price, and like it's a little more cost prohibitive to like go and buy those issues. But those places are great when you're looking for that specific issue.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the thing too with like a shop like that. It's like you're not expecting to move. I feel like once your book has gotten to the point where like, hey, nobody bought this when it came out. It's not a key issue. It's not worth a lot of money. I think as a comic book shop, you just have to take the hit on it.
But sometimes there's the potential that it's gonna be worth something.
Yeah, but that's when you got to look. Cause like, hey, is this an appearance of anyone? And then you put it somewhere. Like again, like we were saying, like you can't always do that. Like
All right, case in point. I'm gonna play a little funny. Like I used to be able to go to this shop out on the island, somewhere in Suffolk County. Not saying where. It's not Fourth World. And they used to have a huge back issue selection. No,
I don't know.
And like you could like cycle through stuff and find cool stuff, and you find hidden stuff. And if a book just hit big, sometimes you'd be able to find it. But if it was a recent back issue you were looking for, they're like, I'm not paying $4.50 for this like $3 book or $2.50 book from last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But like wall book wise, I bought a Detective Comics 359 first back row from this place for $30. And we're not talking like 20 years ago or 15. We're talking like 7 years ago.
Wow.
Like someone goofed on either what the grade was or what price guide they were looking at or something. And like I don't know. Sometimes like comic shops are funny where like you can get a super good deal on something, and sometimes they like nickel and dime you.
I feel like you have a lot of you other guys. I don't know if Jim's the same way. You guys always get lucky with like finding stuff. Like
No.
I haven't done it enough
Yeah,
for me to find
what?
anything.
Like, for those of you who listen to this, who either do it or don't do it, it's a full on commitment. Like really digging through. Like
It's backbreaking.
One of our buddies who he operates Island Collectibles. Me, Mike Caro. Tattoo artist extraordinaire at Undead Ink. Awesome.
Episode 16?
Yes.
Episode 16. Yeah, buddy.
And Tom Polari, we all went out to the spot over the summer, and Mike Caro was like, if he's there to dig, we're gonna be digging. So I'm just like, all right, let's do it. And like I had to put my my comic book digging pants on and like, really digging. And we were there for we went through every single box there. And now there wasn't like 100, but there was probably like 20, 30 boxes that we're going through, and like having like apps and stuff help going through the process. But like we found some good books here, like nothing that was like tens of thousands of dollars. Like I've never pulled anything like that. There's books here and there where I was like, oh, like this is a $30 book, this is like a $40 book. I don't really think I've gone higher than that, but I mean there's stuff out there to find if you're willing to take the time to do it. I mean like a comic book shop, it doesn't matter how many people, like you can't go in and dig through those every single day.
I'm also going to say that as a former retailer, you don't know everything that's hot. You have no idea how much stuff that slipped through my fingers. People like scooped it out and sniped it from the bins where it's like, oh, I can't believe we had that last week.
Yeah, some people have a little bit of advanced knowledge too. Some people might be in the know. And just like, oh, yeah, I like that character. And that's like, it got to the point where very early on when I got into this, it's just like, anything is the first appearance of anyone. I'm just going to pick that up.
Right.
Because you never know. Right. I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with people listening right now. I was like, if there's a first appearance of anybody and you can get your hands on it for a decent price, buy it.
Buy it.
Because the world we live in now.
But what's a decent price?
I mean, if it's worth at least the current value of the book or less, buy it.
If you can... No. So I used to try and buy first appearances of characters that I could see in TV or movie. So like if it was a,
But
if it was,
who doesn't fit that bill anymore?
and that's the problem.
We just talked about Slipknot before.
Yeah. I mean, can you seriously tell me that you don't see Condiment Man showing up in something?
It's Condiment King. His first appearance was in Batman the Animated Series, but he did also appear in comics twice. I don't know which issues. I should know that. I'm really upset with myself.
I can guarantee you he'll show up in something at some point.
He should, and it should be Suicide Squad, and he should die in like 30 seconds.
And it'll be worth $30.
Yeah.
If he's a spectacular enough death and a spectacular enough character,
Nathan Fillion.
yes.
Maybe
No,
that's
his arms fall off, man, or something. Anyway, so like, we talked a little bit about comic shops, like what we like, what we don't. We didn't talk about what we don't like, but we did just very, very briefly. Like, what's an automatic turnoff, or like without naming names, like what's something that like you walked into a shop and you were immediately like, I'm out. This place is no good. I'm done.
If it smells of mildew,
Ooh, that's a good call.
I'm out.
That's a good call.
And I've gone to a shop like that.
I believe it. I
I've gone to a
100%
place,
believe
yep.
it.
I mean, yeah, I've already, touched upon like the dirtiness of a shop. But, the thing that I don't even know if it's necessarily walking in, walking out. I feel like if I've got sometimes where it's just like, they kind of like, I go in and it's like I pay a certain price on something and I find out later it's like, well, this really should have been like $5, not like $25. Like that gets under my skin a little bit.
So that's the flip side and the backhandedness or like the bad side of all these independently owned shops is like you're dealing with all these independent retailers and there's no essential oversight on it.
I was going to a shop before it burnt down, unfortunately.
Isn't that when Best had their fire sale?
Stop.
This was Collector's Kingdom out in Huntington. Yeah,
man.
nice guy. I like the guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed away. But that was a shop I wish I would have. Like, I didn't go bin diving. I wish I would have because he had a ton of books.
I know.
Like that place. I saw the place that like the day after it burnt down, and I was just the stuff that went up. Like it was. I cringe when I even think about it because they had original Star Wars figures in there, all the Sideshow collectibles, the amount of boxes with comics.
And I know he had some like really like cool early keys for Silver Age stuff.
Unfortunately, there was once or twice where he's taken because he used to do a pull list for me. I would go to my Midtown to get books, but then I would also get books from him
Because everyone's got their local comic
I
shop
liked
that they
him.
want to like support, man. I get it.
And I liked him.
Yeah.
But there was a couple times where, not him, not the owner, but one of his people
Right.
took books out of my pull list and sold them because it shot up in price.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing that pisses me off.
I get that. I get that completely, man. All right.
Do you have anything?
Me? I posed this question, and I really don't know. I just think sometimes if, like, I walk into a shop and, like, the prices are astronomical, or if just, like, someone's a jerk.
Yeah.
It really depends who's behind the counter.
Yeah.
And,
go ahead.
And maybe I'm just, like, ultra sensitive to it, because I always tried to be welcoming. You walked in the shop.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? What can I help you find anything?
And that's the flip side on that. So you working for a shop.
Yeah.
Like, if you have I'm going to say it, a dick of a customer.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, listen, you do your best.
Yeah.
And like yeah, I'm gonna say it. Like you do your best. You're not gonna get along with everybody.
Up the price of some things?
No, never. The price is the price. There were occasions where if you were, a regular customer, or if I knew you or whatever it was, we can negotiate prices.
there you
That's
go.
cool. But like, I would never upcharge people on stuff or any of that. No, you don't. What's that?
Nothing.
First Deathstroke?
No, I didn't say it.
Oh, did you get a deal on a First Deathstroke once?
I maybe once.
Nice. When did
And
they come
that-
back? You're so lucky.
And that's the other thing, too, you brought up. Like, wow.
You probably sold at a good time, though.
Oh, I did.
Giving breaks to people.
Yeah, listen. That's one of the cool things about going to a shop. If you're a regular at a shop, listen, retailers are going to hate me for saying this, all right? If you're a regular at a shop, say, hey, I come in here every week. I buy your books every week. Can you cut me a break? And I guarantee you most retailers will give you 10% off.
Yeah. I think a lot of them do anyway.
Like, if you're a regular customer, you're a weekly customer, they'll give you 10% off.
Mm-hmm.
And you get what you could get digitally for 10% off. You have a physical copy of that book. And if if you luck out and that book winds up being hot, you can turn around and sell that book and make money.
Yeah.
You can't do that with digital books.
Yep.
You can't do that with digital books.
with Midtown Comics, for every $100 I spend, I get $20 back,
Which is essentially 20%
which
off.
is 20%.
That's pretty sweet.
Which is cool. I like that idea because then I can go if I know or I don't know. A lot of times I don't know how much is if I'm coming up to my 100, and then all of a sudden like, hey, you got $20 off taken off. I'm like, oh, score. That's a good day.
Yeah.
I still have I have been going to Midtown since 2001. I have an account with them, and I still if I tell them my number, every once in a while they're like, "Oh, well, this you get 20%, $20 off." So it's like, "Oh, cool, sweet."
Yeah.
And like the last time I went to Midtown, I think I bought 3 or 4 books.
Yeah.
I don't actually, did I? No, I didn't. I put them back.
Yeah. I love when I get those days where my books are free, and that's happened to me twice where I have to pay nothing.
It's the best.
It's the coolest thing.
It's the best.
That's cool.
Anyway,
And I make
I want to agree with you on that point though. Like I don't like going into a shop and like there's like no acknowledgement like other than like a head nod.
Yeah.
I was like, listen,
Yeah.
like, I don't want you following me around the store like pressuring me to buy stuff. But at the same point,
or
like
treating you like you're trying to shoplift
right, yeah. Well, I mean, no one's really ever done that to me. I'll be honest.
because
Like,
you're 6'5".
well, no, like, I don't know if I feel like I don't give off that image maybe, but I want to go in and I think if I was a shop owner, I'd be like, hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. Is there something you're looking for? Something I can help you with? And then if you get the no from there, then you stop. Like I've gone into shops where it's just like, hey, it's like, and if you when I go into a new shop, I buy a lot. Like I'm buying a decent amount because I've never been there. Like I'm looking through the back issues and like
You
with
find
with my whole Spider-Man situation, I'm buying less because I have a lot more.
How many away are from a complete run are you?
I think
14.
close to 16. No, not 14 yet.
Oh,
I didn't get those 2 from Toys. Yeah. But so I'm going through a lot. I was like, and if I'm buying like $300 worth of books, it's like, hey, can we do something here? And you tell me, yeah, like $295. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I was just like, I mean, I understand, you have to get what you need to get on it, but I mean, I like the that was my throat.
Was that you at the wow?
Yeah, I like treating you like you're human, and that's the thing too with like what you expect from like a comic book person too. I think there's plenty of those Simpson style comic book owners,
There
and
are
shop runners that are just like, I mean, you may complain about business, but you're the reason the business is the way it is, and like that's one of the main reasons I like coming into Best was because I would go in there, I'd be able to ask you guys questions. You'd be interactive with me. It was like more of a comfortable space to like actually do, enjoy this hobby in.
Any of us there were happy to be there, and any of us there like had different opinions on stuff. Like,
And that's the great part about it too. Like
Chris had different opinions from me,
yeah.
who had different opinions from Nick, who had different
Yeah.
opinions from John, who had different opinions from Tommy.
It's great to have like that open conversation and like the debate too. Like this is why we did this on like a larger scale. I mean, but we were already doing this before we started doing this, really.
Yeah.
Which is funny, but yeah, I just wanted to add that to what you were saying.
Yeah.
So what else are we talking about?
I don't know. Like, is there anything that like strikes you as like this is a really good shop?
What they got, what they're selling.
Okay.
Everything, and I like a mixture of things. I want to see books, statues.
Yeah.
I'm big into another thing. I'm big into the cards.
I know you
the
are.
non-sports cards, and a lot of places don't sell these. I mean, it's well.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I like buying them. I like seeing them, and
and it's not. I jest a little bit, but I think there's the reason you probably see less is because the market for that.
Right, there's not a big market.
It's not like the same. You're not looking at the same comic book market of people.
But I guarantee I could probably guarantee you a lot of people don't know what's out there.
I'm sure if you
Like
know your
you've got
stuff,
Supergirl cards, you've got
Yeah.
Flash cards, all these TV shows that got cards, and you can get an autographed card from these guys.
or
So
like
it's
memorabilia from the show
you know,
or something, right? Yeah.
I like that. That's what's cool. Marvel's got card sets that come out that's got sketch cards in from all these big
That's pretty cool.
artists. Or I grabbed a Marvel pack once and it had pieces of, it's hard to say, but comic books is where they cut a comic book out and you get a piece of the comic book.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Sacrilegious.
I know.
Oh.
I know.
Was it
But-
the Marvel value stamp?
No.
It should have been.
Um,
That'd be great.
But you know,
Doesn't affect story, babe.
I think a lot of people don't know of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right.
But it's all I can understand cost perspective, and it's just sitting on the shelf. But I'd like to see more of that.
That's the cool thing is it depends on like your clientele.
Right.
Like you don't have guys like you necessarily showing up every week who are gonna buy that,
Right,
or
right.
like guys like you who are gonna show up and want to buy that. So like maybe you don't buy it.
True.
So, like every store you go into, and this is the really cool thing about comic shops is like every store you go into is a little bit different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I
It's
think
not a cookie cutter. Like I feel like even to some degree, like each Midtown store is probably different from the other because
you get
It's funny because I've only been to 2 of them. I didn't go to the downtown one. I've been to the one by Grand Central, and mine is the Midtown Times Square.
the
And,
flagship.
Yeah, I've been to the one by Grand Central, and it's to me it's much cleaner.
I like
It's more bright,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
and there's structure to the aisles. Like
Yeah.
they've got end caps. They've got little, I don't know what you call them, like islands of stuff there.
I've been to the Times Square one that you go to once. The few times that I do go,
Only once?
only the times, yeah, only that.
Really?
So I work close to the Grand Central one, so I've been to that one maybe like 5 or 6 times.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, so I actually really do like that one's like the one you have to like go upstairs to get to.
Well, they both are.
Oh, the other one's upstairs.
Other one's
Yeah.
upstairs as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I used to go to the Midtown one all the time when I was in high school. I went to a signing with Peter David there, with Alex Ross there.
And it is
Frank
cool that
Miller.
they do a lot of that.
That
stuff,
is
and they get
cool.
a lot of big names.
Yeah, a lot of theirs is downtown though. That's the problem. I haven't been to that downtown one. A lot of their signings are downtown.
Really?
It sucks.
You know why?
Because they got more area for people to line up outside.
not
There's
even
an-
just not
there's
even
an
just
alley.
that. I guarantee you that's probably their least lucrative location, and they need to make it lucrative somehow.
It's a good idea.
It's not a bad idea.
I do like as you were saying though, I do like the diversity. I mean, it's probably a bad thing for me personally, but like I collect the old books, I collect the new books. I'm into variants, I'm into statues, to a certain degree toys too. Like, we were talking about toy bits before. Like, I've got, I'm into a little bit of the Master of the Universe stuff. I'm into, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, and then, we go into like the superhero stuff as well. And, like I like to see the variety, but I also don't want to see like I like to see that it's moving a little bit too. And, again, like, when you become a regular person, listen, the first time you walk into a shop, I'm not expecting someone to be like, hey, whatever you want, it's half off. But, like,
Didn't I do that?
yeah, after you, well, I think at that first day of considering what I bought, it was probably necessary. But I do like when you recognize like the person coming in, even if they don't come in all the time, they come in.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Yeah, you do.
This is why I teach art and not chorus.
Oh, now we know why Tom goes to that bar he goes to. But yeah, no, I like, after a while, like I appreciate the, hey, this guy comes in here, he might not come in here every week, but he comes in here often enough, and he spends a decent amount of money. Let's make sure you treat him right.
Yeah, man, like that was the part of the job that I loved the most.
Yeah.
Like I wore so many hats at the job, but like getting to talk to people, getting to know certain people, and like
Fedoras?
what? No.
You said hats.
Oh. My saying that I like to say a lot of these days is like, I wear a lot of hats and I look stupid when I wear them all at the same time.
You can't wear that many hats.
You can't wear that many hats. You only have one head. Anyway, I love being
JJ
able to
fell
like
asleep
just
20
talk.
minutes ago.
I know.
What?
I love just being able to talk to people about books that I loved and like giving them a recommendation and like have them come back and be like, that was so good.
Yeah. I don't talk to anybody at the Midtown Comics. I'm kind of in and I'm out. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't
And
want
I think
anybody
that's
talking to
generally
me.
probably expected there, though,
And that's
right?
okay.
Because there's so many people, and I just,
There's probably-
normally it's a madhouse anyway.
And that's the thing too. Like, if I were to go to a shop like that where it's crazy, even if it was a local shop, like I've never been to a local shop like Wednesday morning, other than Midtown Comics. Like, have I gone? But I've never been to like even like Best Com. I've never been there Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning used to be nuts.
Really? And it's just like I would never go in there and try to like chit chat someone. Like, when the store's busy, like if I see it quiets down, like, I've gone in for like free comic book day where it's like nuts and that, and I've hung around and just like
Free comic day is nuts.
enjoyed being there, but like, like I wouldn't like get in your face while like other people were like trying to buy. Like, I understand like the working relationship there. Like, even though like I'm like a regular, I was like,
Sometimes
hey,
people don't.
I'm just floating, and I know I've noticed that too. And like I've tried to like box people out, like, hey, Why didn't you leave that person alone? Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of good and bad.
Cool.
All right, should we get on to our next?
Yeah, go for it.
So are we skipping out on reading and watching?
No, we can still do that, right?
Well, I think we're doing something different, right? I think we're doing up and away, right?
Okay, sure.
Up and away.
Hi ho, Silver. I just want to say one thing on reading and watching. I recently watched that. What was it called? The Hi Ho Silver.
Lone Ranger.
Yeah, I didn't think it was terrible.
Oh no.
Is that the one with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it was okay.
I was like, I mean, see, that's the flip side of when you hear so much negative about something, and it's just like, it wasn't that bad.
It was okay.
I started watching John Carter a few weeks back.
I've never seen that.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't.
It wasn't good. Yeah,
Great.
It was okay.
It probably didn't deserve to be a hit, but it probably also
Well,
didn't
because
deserve
they
to bomb so badly.
They spent so much freaking money on it.
They spent so much money to make it and
Yeah.
then didn't properly market it
Right.
at all.
All right, so we're skipping what we're currently reading and talking.
Yeah,
Sure, why
We're
not?
just changing it.
No
up.
one cares about. Does anyone care about Letterkenny? Does anyone know about Letterkenny?
Don't care about
We'll,
it.
we'll come back to him next
Okay,
week.
that's fine. Letterkenny's awesome.
They killed Kenny.
Nah, it's Canadian
It's a
Hicks.
different
It's great.
Oh. We don't really Canadian. We don't like Canada anyway, right?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, what's wrong
What?
with Canadians?
Yeah.
Have you got through Hardcore History yet?
No.
Which one?
The World War II one.
No.
I gained a lot of respect for the Canadians.
Okay.
Canadians were
after that.
no joke in World War One.
Oy.
No joke.
All right, so what's this up and awake?
Up and away. This was our segment about comic prices and how they were fluctuating. So if they were going up, they were going down.
Are they?
Yeah, sometimes. When we were really good about this, we were keeping track of what was happening.
Adventures 12. Oh, that was a book I used to sell for $50.
I hate myself. Anyway,
Hey,
we're
they're
talking
only
all
going for
about.
like $350 to $215, bro.
God, I used to sell them for $50. Anyway, we're talking about all the Birds of Prey books, first appearances for all those characters in that fantabulous POS movie. No, we're gonna be positive. Sorry. So Harley Quinn, who is portrayed by Margot Robbie and apparently the largest character in the movie, first appears in comics in Batman Adventures number 12. You like that?
That was good.
That was good,
That was
right?
good.
Ooh, 13, 14. Huh?
Yeah, 13, 14 for a CGC 9.8, and I
Somebody has one.
hate myself. Do you have one of those? Do you really?
Yeah.
Good for
In my
you.
office.
Good for you.
9.6 is about half that price at $620, and a CGC 9.4 went for $576. And if Toy Story had done his due diligence, I hope you're listening to this, Toy Story, he would have cited the dates that these were sold for. Thanks, Toy Story. Raw, that book sold for $345 and $255 recently, and I, as I said before, used to sell them for $50.
Yeah.
I was the first guy to do it, though. I was the first guy to notice that the book was going to be going up in price. I would just buy them up like crazy. And I think a few weeks back, I might have mentioned the fact that I bought a whole run of Batman Adventures, Batman and Robin Adventures, and that lot had 2 number 12s and a Mad Love in it
Wow.
for $150.
What's the Mad Love go for?
I don't know. And as I said, if I had done my due diligence, or if Toy Story had, we would know what the prices were.
Okay.
Do you hear me, Toy Story?
Leave him alone. He's not feeling good. He's
I'm sorry,
not
bud. I
feeling
hope you.
good.
Toy Story's not here with us
Jesus.
tonight
Let's be
because he's
nice to
not
him.
feeling well.
That's right.
So that being said, what the hell, Toy Story? No, I hope we feel better, bud. Huntress, Helena Bertinelli, is being portrayed by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was... She was in Scott Pilgrim versus the Universe, wasn't
Yes,
she? Wasn't
she
she
was
Ramona
Ramona
Flowers?
Flowers.
Yeah.
Love her.
Right?
I like her.
So Helena Bertinelli first appears in 1989 in Huntress number 1, and a CGC 9.8 of that book just sold for $182, and Raw you're looking at like $15.
I think the DM has one of these.
He
doesn't
does, yep.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
have,
I
Is
think
it a
his is.
98?
I think his is raw.
Oh, okay.
I might have one of these too, but I don't actually know. I do definitely have one of these other ones. The first Huntress that's related to Batman is Helena Wayne.
Okay.
And
so the Huntress number 1 is Bertinelli.
Right.
Who this character is going to be in the movie is.
Yes.
Okay.
She's kind of like an update on this pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths character, Helena Wayne, which is like Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle's daughter.
Yeah.
So she first appears in DC Superstars number 17, and a CGC 9.8 of this went for $720.
So this is probably the book that more people are seeing.
I
as
would
the
This is the one you
first
want.
chance.
Yeah, this is harder to find. The Superstars number 17 is from the 70s. I want to say her next appearance after this was like in the Batman family books. So you had a 9.8 that went for 720, a 9.6 that went for 350, and a 9.4 that went for 225.
Interesting.
So if you happen to see DC Superstar 17 out in the wild, and this is one of those books that like people probably wouldn't notice.
This is going to be in a bin somewhere.
Yeah, this is at a yard sale somewhere.
Yeah.
And like it's the wrong time of year for yard sales, but like you might be able to find it.
There's been a lot recently.
Really?
You can find
It's
this
so
book.
cold.
Yeah. That's when people want to really get in and pack up. So this next one's the one I'm interested in. I haven't seen this one before. I don't think the cover.
Which one?
The next one.
Black Canary?
Yeah.
Damn it, Toy Story.
Why is it blank?
No, I think he just goofed on the lines. It's Flash Comics number 86 from 1947. So
wow.
So this is one of those things where sorry folks, if I'd done the research here, I probably could have helped you out with this. I know that Black Canary is like the one that's Dina. Dina Lance, thank you. Like she's actually technically the first Black Canary's daughter. So the Flash Comics 86 from 1947 might actually be like the first appearance of Dina Lance the younger, and not. I don't know if it's Dina Lance the elder or something along those lines.
Gotcha.
Regardless, 1947, it's Golden Age books, and Golden Age books are just bananas. So like a recent sale from back in June at a CGC 2.5 sold for $6,300, and a 6.5 in August went for $13,200. I see you guys feverishly swiping. What are you finding out?
Well, it's the first appearance of Black Canary. That's really all it is in the Flash Comics 86.
Okay.
I'm just kind of looking at what Silver Age is.
Like.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing else on that in that book.
It's all good.
Huh.
We'll come back to that. Renee Montoya is being played by Rosie Perez in this movie, which I honestly, when I heard that casting,
take foods that start with the letter Q.
Honestly, I kind of loved this casting.
I did too. I'm not lying.
Like, this is what I'm talking about a few weeks back when I said, like, last week? Jeez, how long, It seems like it's weeks ago. I was honestly really excited for this movie. And, like, I heard who was in this, and I heard who was cast, and I was like, that's a cool person, that's a cool person, that's a cool actor. And, like, this one's a lot of fun. Renee Montoya is actually not that old when it comes to comic books. Batman 475 is her first appearance, and that was like I want to say a 3-part story with Scarface. So like 475, it switched to Detective Comics for an issue, and then it was Batman 476. So her first appearance is Batman 475. A CGC book of that is 9.6, went for $60, and raw you're looking at like $15. That's probably a book that's got a bit of pop to it, and that's definitely a book you can buy cheap.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you find that at a yard sale for $1 or 50 cents, it's an easy peasy sale.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, totally. And I would probably sit on that for a little bit, and that would probably pop a little bit more.
Huh.
Victor Zsasz is played by Chris Messina coming up in this movie. That's Batman Shadow of the Bat #1. And I got to tell you, that book was way overprinted. There are 2 different versions of that book. And I'm telling you this, not based on what Toy Story wrote down, but just on my knowledge. There's a regular version, and then there's like a bagged poly version of this book. I don't really think that this book is going to pop too much. But a CGC 9.8 is $63, and raw you're looking at like $3.
This guy hasn't been in anything really, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Cassandra Cain, her first appearance is Batman 567. She's played by Ella J. Basco, and I gotta say that I was not happy with how she looked in the trailer. I will tell you that that book is going to be harder to find because this was like late 90s, early 2000s. So it was probably 99 or 2000. And comics were definitely in a lower print run at that point. So finding that book out in the wild is going to be more difficult. A CGC 9.8 of that book is $200, and raw you're looking at $35.
And she's another one that hasn't been in anything.
Exactly. Black Mask finally is played by...
1999.
What's that?
1999.
I told you. No Man's Land, baby. Black Mask is played by Ewan McGregor. Batman 386 is his first appearance.
Wait.
That's in the 80s.
I gotta look up this guy. Who's this guy?
Black Mask, Roman Sionis.
No.
Ewan McGregor?
Ewan Maker.
Are you kidding me? Obi-Wan Kenobi? Okay, so JJ's pulling my leg. CGC, this book is a $400 book,
everyone give him
and
a round of
raw.
applause. That was
really
sarcasm.
that was really good. Raw, that book's looking at $125, and I remember when that book was like in the back issue bins for $5.
Yeah, I think do both you and the DM have a 9.8 on this?
I don't have a black mask.
Really?
Yeah, I think he recently picked one up. If he doesn't have a 9.8, he definitely has a 9.6.
That's awesome.
On this one, yeah.
All my books. So, touching back on what we said about working in a comic shop, man, all my books were like purchased like people sold collections, and then I would buy them.
Yeah, I don't have this one.
Eventually from the owner at some point, and like I used to get really good books for relatively cheap, and I've been collecting so long that I was also buying stuff from like back issue bins for like $2, $3, $4, $5 that are now like $25, $50. So it like blows my mind being in this like biz for so long and seeing how things have just spiked in value.
I mean, it's to a certain degree. I know it has. I feel like it almost gives like kind of the characters the respect they deserve, though.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Anyway, that's it for Up and Away. If you have one of these books and you're like just learning that we've told you that it's worth a bit of money, let us know.
If you want to sell it for cheap, let us know.
I don't have money, man. Ask one of these other guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff. I like that. We'll have to incorporate that a little more often.
Hey, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. It lets people know a little bit more about their collection. If you're a collector and you like this, let us know.
Yeah.
And if you hate it, also let us know. We'll stop taking up airtime with it. We're receptive.
So, I mean, I think that pretty much covers. I don't think there's really much to update in terms of reading or watching. Anyway,
No.
Do you quickly want to talk about Titans?
Titans was great last night. If you haven't caught it, catch it.
3 nights ago.
3 nights ago. That's right. 3 nights ago.
The other night when I watched it.
Yeah. So we still get a Superboy appearance, was pretty cool.
Yes, Connor. They haven't said the Kent name last, but on IMDb he's described as Connor Kent.
There you go.
Well, I think Jeff Johns probably has a pretty decent hand in that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an interesting episode. I told this to JJ earlier. The one thing that is frustrating me is they're kind of doing this thing where you get like a reveal in one episode, and then they go into like a backstory
in the next
of something
episode
else, and then they don't come back to like that reveal for another episode, and it like drives me crazy a little bit. But
so that's straight out of the Chuck Dixon like plotting of comic books, where like you have an A plot and a B plot.
Oh boy.
And then like you tease a C plot that becomes your A plot or your B plot.
Which that makes now hearing that makes a lot of sense.
It's a really good way to keep people involved in a series.
It seems like they're pulling a lot into these shows from other shows and other movies, because there's a scene in there where they pull from a Batman 66 show.
Yeah,
that's what the
dancing.
text meant.
Yes, that's what the text meant.
I
Okay.
figured that's what it was about when he said it last night.
Someone did that too.
I haven't watched it yet. So.
Yeah, so maybe we'll talk about it again. But yeah, it was pretty comical.
Bruce Wayne did the Adam West.
He did the Adam West. Okay, fine. He did the Adam
It's
West.
not that big of a reveal.
It was
It's
pretty
not
cool.
like they killed
Sir Jorah
Batman.
does the Batman 66 dance.
Like only Sir Jorah could.
Yeah, it was quick. He didn't do the
Wonderful.
whole dance, but he did the eyes.
And it wasn't as like ridiculous.
No,
as,
but it was as soon as he did, with the fingers
Yeah,
on his,
oh,
I knew
100%.
right away. I was
Yeah.
like, "Holy cow!"
And stuff
That's
like that's
awesome.
great because it's such a small thing that pays respect to the people who have been in this, who've been along for the ride for so long.
I can't.
And you're only
believe-
going to get it if you know, like if you follow this stuff.
Yeah.
I think any Joe Schmo who doesn't know anything about
But
it,
you know
not
what?
going to catch that.
You know what's cool about that now? Like, so you say that, but someone who may have watched that and is kind of new, they're like, oh man, what are they talking about? That person might be going back right now and looking at that and watching that old episode.
You never know.
Which is also cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good episode. It focused a lot on Dick. I think this series overall has been, and I think so. The first season, Titans, is still the best show that the DC universe is producing. But I feel like there's one of the things about this season for sure is there's a lot more depth.
Yes.
Getting a lot more, of the characters, a lot more meat on the bones for each episode kind of deal. And, we got a little bit of everyone else. Deathstroke is such a great villain because he's playing a long chess game here, and he's kind of attacking like indirectly each character. It seems like he's trying to make them kind of implode from the inside,
which is what he did in the Judas contract by
Yes.
planting what he did in the team.
Yeah, so I've been really enjoying it. I've got to say, there's not a character on that team or a portrayal that I haven't liked so far. This episode, I really enjoy Rose and Jason a lot.
Yes.
I like that interaction. We hadn't really got much from Rose at this point. In this episode, she kind of finally opened up.
Yep.
And her and Jason Todd kind of mixing with each other. What were we gonna say?
And I'm gonna say it right now. Hashtag bring back Aqualad. Hashtag bring back
I don't
Aqualad.
think we're gonna see that again. Maybe, but
Hashtag that thing.
imagine he's teaming up with Deathstroke. What?
Oh, they're switching it up. Instead of Earth, it's water.
Hashtag bring back Aqualad.
JJ doesn't care as long as he's back.
All right.
Yeah, but good show, good episode, and let us know what you think.
All right. Do we have any other announcements?
So still, I think next weekend is the Suffolk show, right? Suffolk Comic and Art
Is
Show.
it next weekend?
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So
Okay.
we'll be checking that out again. The Hurricane Long Island is November 23rd. I realize that there's a family engagement that I have to be involved in that day, so I will still be involved. Still looking for people who are interested in, kind of donating to the raffle that they're doing, whether it be comic books, collectibles. Hit us up, request at longislandcomicguys.com, or, David Donovan, who's involved with the event directly. He's on, check out the Instagram post we did, or I think you can find that post on Facebook as well. Correct, JJ?
Yep.
And, let us know about that. But I think other than that, nothing crazy in terms of announcements. Was there anything big that you were thinking
No,
of?
not at all. Nothing.
All right, great. All right, so you'll see us again. But remember, until next time.
Go feed the geeks!